There are moments in life when someone leaves your world, quietly, unexpectedly, or without explanation. Yet their presence still lingers in ways you can't fully understand. You feel it in the stillness of the night, in the sudden ache of a memory, in the strange heaviness that appears when their name crosses your mind. And what's even more surprising, sometimes, the person you think has moved on is the same person who's missing you more deeply than they'd ever admit. People rarely confess the truth of their emotions. Pride gets in the way. Fear stops them. Timing complicates things. Instead of saying, "I miss you," they show it in the smallest, most unexpected ways most of us overlook. Missing someone doesn't always look dramatic or obvious. Often, it's quiet, subtle, hidden between their actions and their silence. And sometimes, the quietest signs speak the loudest. Maybe you've been wondering why someone acts strange around you lately. Why they appear in your notifications but never send a message. Why they bring your name into conversations without realizing it. Why their energy shifts when you walk into a room. Missing someone is not always about longing. Sometimes it's about regret, about memories that refuse to fade, about emotions they thought they buried but keep resurfacing. Human connections leave fingerprints on the heart. Even after distance, silence, or separation, something remains. A familiar smell, a shared song, a place where both of you once laughed, a message they never deleted, a moment they still remember vividly. Missing someone quietly means they still carry pieces of you, in their thoughts, their habits, their late-night memories. This intro isn't just about romance. It applies to friendships, family connections, and even bondings that never had a name. Sometimes someone misses the way you made them feel. Sometimes they miss the safety you brought, the comfort you gave, or the version of themselves they were when you were in their life. Sometimes they miss you not because they want you back, but because your presence was irreplaceable. Most people won't message you saying, "Hey, I miss you." But their behavior will whisper it. Their eyes will show it. Their silence will reveal it. And their reactions will confirm it. So if you've ever wondered whether someone thinks about you when the world gets quiet, whether your absence affected them more than they pretended, whether they secretly wish things had been different, this list is for you. What you're about to read are not surface-level clues. These are the deep, psychological signs. The signs people display when your presence meant more to them than they could ever express. Signs that slip through unintentionally. Signs that only appear when feelings are real. Because when the heart misses someone, it doesn't speak through words. It speaks through actions, reactions, patterns, and silence. These are 10 signs someone quietly misses your presence. 1. They revisit old memories more often. When someone quietly misses you, they don't always say it out loud. Instead, their heart pulls them back to the moments where you existed in their world. They start revisiting old memories, not because they enjoy living in the past, but because it's the only place where your presence still feels close. They replay conversations, even the small ones, the jokes you shared, the secrets you whispered, the things you said casually but that stayed with them deeply. Every detail becomes a doorway back to the version of themselves who felt safe, warm, or understood when you were near. They might scroll through old photos, even the ones they said they didn't like at the time. They revisit the places you once went together, the cafe, the road where you walked, the shop you stopped at for something small. Sometimes they go there physically, sometimes only in their mind. But the feeling is the same, a quiet longing for something that once felt simple but now feels priceless. Missing someone can be confusing. They didn't realize how much your presence mattered until it wasn't there. So their mind keeps pulling them backward, trying to relive moments they didn't appreciate enough the first time. They remember your laugh, the way you looked at them, the comfort of knowing you were part of their daily routine. Even painful memories come back, not to hurt them, but because even those moments had you in them. People who deeply miss you don't move on quickly. They reflect. They revisit. They wonder, what if I had tried harder? What if I said things differently? What if I hadn't let them walk away? These thoughts keep looping, not to torture them, but because a part of them still feels connected to you in a way they don't fully understand. They may not text you. They may not call. They may not show any sign on the outside, but inside, their heart rewinds constantly, playing the moments you shared like a favorite song that hurts but heals at the same time. And this is one of the strongest signs. Someone who constantly goes back to your memories isn't letting go. They are holding on, quietly, deeply, and more intensely than they will ever admit. 2. They check your social media quietly. When someone misses you silently, they become a hidden observer of your life. Social media becomes their window into your world, your moods, your changes, your growth, your happiness, and your pain. They check your posts not out of curiosity, but out of longing. They want to know how you're doing, even if they no longer have the right to ask. They open your profile late at night, scroll through your old posts, read your captions, watch the photos you upload, and sometimes linger a little too long on a picture where you look genuinely happy. They don't interact. They won't like, comment, or react. Why? Because they don't want you to know they're still watching. It's pride mixed with heartbreak. They want to feel close to you without crossing the invisible boundary that now exists between you. Their silence is not a lack of interest. It's a fear of appearing vulnerable. They don't want you to think they still care, even though they desperately do. They check your stories the moment you post them, then exit quickly as if their heart can't handle seeing too much. They notice everything: who you're with, what you're doing, how your eyes look, and whether your smile looks real or forced. They notice when your energy feels different. They notice when you change your profile picture or update your status. Even the smallest detail becomes meaningful to them. Sometimes, when they see you happy, their heart softens. They feel relieved. But when they see something that triggers an old memory, it shakes them. A place you visited together, a song you once shared, a quote that sounds like something you would say when you were hurt. In those moments, they stay at the screen, debating whether to reach out or stay distant. Their quiet checking isn't about obsession. It's about longing mixed with regret. They want to know if you're moving on or still thinking about them. They want to see if someone else has entered your life. They want reassurance that they weren't the only one who felt something real. They check because they care. They check because they miss you. They check because they still feel connected to your life, even if they no longer belong in it. And sometimes, the loudest "I miss you" is the one typed into a search bar with no message ever sent. 3. They hold on to your small gestures. When someone quietly misses you, it's not the big things they remember, it's the small ones. The tiny gestures you never thought mattered become the ones that keep echoing inside their heart. They remember the way you said their name, the way you laughed at the smallest jokes, the way you looked at them when you thought they weren't paying attention. They hold on to these little pieces of you because they're all they have left. Small gestures become sacred when someone misses you deeply. Maybe you once brought them their favorite snack, checked on them when they were unwell, or sent a simple drive-safe message. You didn't think much of it, but they did. Now, when they think of you, it's these small acts of care that hit them the hardest. Because those gestures made them feel seen, safe, important. They remember your habits, how you touched your hair when you were nervous, how you smiled before saying something sincere, how you got quiet when something hurt you. They replay these in their mind not because they want to suffer, but because your presence gave them a sense of comfort they didn't appreciate fully at the time. Even small routines become emotional memories. The way you greeted them, the way you said goodbye, the way you used certain words or made certain expressions. They find themselves missing the little things they once took for granted, the things they assumed would always be there. Sometimes they try to recreate those moments by doing something you once did for them, not because they're trying to move on, but because it reminds them of you. A gesture that once felt ordinary now feels irreplaceable. They may even catch themselves comparing others to you. She doesn't laugh like them. He doesn't understand me the way they did. No one remembers small details the way they did. That's when they realize what they miss is not the grand moments, but the emotional warmth you carried in your smallest actions. These small gestures become emotional anchors. They hurt and heal at the same time. They remind them of your presence, your personality, and your impact. And when someone holds on to your small gestures long after you're gone, it means your presence wasn't just a moment. It was a feeling they still haven't been able to replace. 4. They notice your absence instantly. When someone quietly misses you, the first thing they feel is the emptiness you leave behind. They may not say it out loud, but the moment you're not around, something inside them shifts. The room feels different. The energy feels incomplete. Even if others are present, they still sense that something or someone important is missing. That someone is you. People often take presence for granted. They get used to your voice, your laugh, your comments, your energy, your way of filling a space. But when you're gone, even for a moment, it becomes painfully clear how much life you brought into their world. They notice when you don't show up. They notice when you go quiet. They notice when you're not part of a conversation where you usually would have said something memorable. If you used to talk to them daily, even a small delay feels huge for them now. If you once walked into their life consistently, your absence feels like a pause they don't know how to handle. They might pretend they don't care. They might act normal. But inside, their heart immediately picks up the void. They notice the silence where your laughter used to be. They notice the lack of warmth where your presence used to live. When someone misses you, time behaves differently for them. Moments feel longer. Days feel slower. They may check their phone more often than they admit. They may wait for a message that never comes. They may start wondering where you are, what you're doing, who you're with, and whether you've stopped thinking about them. Your absence becomes a reminder of how deeply they felt your presence, even if they failed to show it before. Their mind doesn't want to let go, so it keeps noticing the spaces shaped by you. Even if they try to distract themselves, even if they stay busy, even if they try to pretend life is normal, their heart catches every missing detail. Because when someone misses you quietly, your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. 5. They bring you up in random moments. When someone deeply misses you, you start slipping into their conversations without them even realizing it. You become the uninvited guest their heart refuses to forget. They mention you casually to people, sometimes your name, sometimes a story about you, sometimes something you once said. It may seem accidental, but it isn't. It happens because you still exist in the back of their mind, quietly influencing their thoughts. Missing someone affects the subconscious. It makes their mind wander back to you in moments that have nothing to do with you. They'll be sitting with friends, talking about something completely unrelated, and suddenly, there you are, in their words, in their examples, in their memories. They bring up your habits, your jokes, your opinions. They recall a moment you shared, even if it was small or silly. They talk about the way you reacted to certain things or how you made them feel. These random mentions reveal something powerful. You're still part of their emotional world. Maybe they don't want to say it openly. Maybe they don't even realize they're doing it. But the heart has its own language, and one of its signs is how often a person's presence shows up in someone's stories long after they are gone. They bring you up when they are feeling nostalgic. They bring you up when something reminds them of you. A movie, a song, a place, a scent, a joke. They bring you up when they're trying to make a point, or when they're simply missing the comfort you once gave. You become a reference point for emotions they can't forget. And sometimes, the most revealing moment is when they talk about you without bitterness, without anger, without hesitation, just genuine memory. Because when someone misses you deeply, they don't only remember you. They carry you into conversations, subconsciously hoping someone will understand what you meant to them. 6. They get emotional over your name. There's something powerful about a name. When someone misses you deeply, even hearing your name can hit them like a wave they weren't prepared for. It triggers memories, feelings, and moments they thought they had buried. Your name becomes a reminder of everything they felt but never expressed fully. It becomes the sound of longing, regret, or unspoken attachment. They may hear your name in a conversation, in a movie, in a story someone is telling, and instantly, their heart reacts. Their chest tightens. Their mind pauses. Their face changes, even if only for a second. They try to hide it, but emotions don't lie. The feeling that rises is often unexpected and overwhelming. Your name carries the weight of all the experiences you shared. The laughter, The arguments, the small gestures, the comfort, the connection, the things you both understood without needing to say much. Your name brings all these memories back in a single moment, and that alone is enough to shake them. They might avoid saying your name because it hurts. They might avoid hearing it because it brings up emotions they're not ready to face. They might replace your name with that person or them, thinking distance will make it easier. But the heart doesn't operate on logic. It holds onto names that meant something. And yours, for them, meant more than they'd ever admit. Sometimes, hearing your name reminds them of what they lost. Sometimes, it reminds them of what they wish they still had. And sometimes, it reminds them of who they were when you were part of their life, a version of themselves they secretly miss too. When someone gets emotional over your name, it means you were not just a chapter, you were an entire language of feelings. And even if they stay silent, even if they try to act strong, their heart still whispers the truth. Your name still matters. 7. They reread old chats late at night. When someone quietly misses you, nighttime becomes the most dangerous hour for their heart. The distractions of the day fade away, and suddenly the silence becomes loud enough to remind them of everything they've been trying not to feel. That's when they open your old chats, the conversations that once felt ordinary but now feel like home. They scroll through messages you both sent months or even years ago. They reread jokes you shared, problems you helped them solve, late-night confessions, and those small check-ins that made them feel cared for. Each message hits differently now. Words that once felt casual suddenly feel precious. Emojis that once made them smile now feel like tiny emotional knives reminding them of closeness they lost. Sometimes they read the entire conversation from the start, reliving the rise and fall of your connection. They read your good mornings, your drive safe, your are you okay? They pause on messages that feel too tender to handle. They linger on your voice notes, hearing the warmth in your tone, wishing they could go back to the version of life where you were still talking regularly. They don't do this because they are bored. They do it because the heart clings to places where it once felt understood. Rereading old chats becomes a way of touching the past without actually reaching out. It's their silent confession, the proof that they still care, still think, still wish things were different. Your old chats become their comfort and their heartbreak. Because missing someone quietly means holding on to things you can't say anymore. And so, in the stillness of midnight, they return to the only place where your presence still feels real, the words you left behind. 8. They try to stay connected indirectly. People who miss you deeply don't always come back directly. Sometimes pride, fear, or past pain stops them. Instead, they find indirect ways to stay connected. They watch your stories but never react. They like a post from 3 weeks ago by accident. They talk to your friends, hoping to hear something about you. They check the places you might go. They appear in your online spaces just enough for you to notice, but not enough for them to seem obvious. They might comment on something that reminds them of you, or send a meme that seems random, but it's not. It's their way of saying, I still remember what you like. They may send a "Hey, did you see this?" message after months of silence, pretending it's casual but hoping it will restart a conversation. They might even ask people around you subtle questions. How are they doing? Are they okay? This isn't because they've moved on. It's because they miss your presence but don't know how to step back into your life without feeling exposed. Indirect connection is emotional safety. They fear rejection, so they stay close but not too close. They want to know you're fine. They want to feel connected to your energy. They want you in their orbit even if they can't have you the way they once did. It's a quiet form of missing. Soft, hesitant, full of longing. Indirect actions are never random. They are emotional fingerprints left behind by someone who still feels you, even from afar. 9. They pay attention to your little changes. When someone misses you, they start noticing things about you that most people overlook. The new way you style your hair, the change in the tone of your posts, how your smile looks softer or heavier than before. They pay attention to your captions, your mood, your schedule, your improvements, your struggles, your growth. Even something as small as the way you write a sentence tells them something, and they notice it. They remember your older version, so every small change feels meaningful. If you seem happier, they feel relieved but also a little sad that they are no longer part of your joy. If you look tired or distant, they feel concerned, wanting to reach out but not knowing if they should. They notice changes in your energy because they used to read you without you having to explain anything, and part of them still reads you the same way. When you update something, your photo, your interests, your routine, they wonder what inspired it. Was it growth? Pain? A new person? Healing? They analyze all of it quietly, not out of obsession, but out of emotional attachment. The truth is, people don't observe your small changes unless they care deeply. Noticing details is a form of love, even when unspoken. And when someone pays attention to things you never expected anyone to notice, it's because you still matter more than they want to admit. 10. They feel happier when you're around. One of the clearest signs someone misses you is how their entire energy shifts when you're near. Even if they try to stay composed, the warmth in their eyes gives everything away. They feel lighter around you. Their voice softens. Their smile becomes real again. Their guard drops without them realizing it. You bring a sense of comfort they don't find elsewhere. Being around you reminds them of how good things felt when you were part of their daily life. You give them a feeling that's familiar yet rare. The feeling of being understood, seen, or emotionally safe. Your presence settles them. It heals something inside them that they didn't know was hurting. When you walk into a room, the atmosphere changes for them. Conversations become easier. Time feels shorter. Even silence feels better. They don't have to pretend. They don't have to overthink. With you, they can simply be themselves. And that kind of emotional ease is not something people forget. Sometimes they get nervous around you because missing someone creates both excitement and fear. Excitement because they are happy to be near you again. Fear because they realize how much you still affect them. But despite the mixed feelings, the truth is undeniable. Your presence makes their world feel more complete. Even if they remain silent, even if they don't express anything openly, their happiness around you is the heart's confession, the unspoken truth that they miss you more deeply than their words could ever reveal.